Hey everyone at home. If you grab a block or anything like a cushion, folded blanket will do as well. And we're starting on our backs on the floor. Oh, I noticed when we start standing, carry on chatting, don't listen. The moment I say you can get down onto the floor, oh, we're listening. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so down onto the floor with the block underneath your head. Legs bent, knees to the ceiling. Okay, and then rest one hand on your belly and one hand up on your chest. Close your eyes. Now breathe in and out through your nose. See if you can fill the breath between the two hands. So filling the breath from the belly up to your chest. Exhaling all the air out, feeling your body relax a little, your bones settle into the ground, into the mat. Taking a slightly fuller breath. Think of the range of your breathing through the day. And now consciously deepen your inhale, make it last a little longer. And lengthen your exhale, making that last a little longer. Do that one more time. Good, then bring your arms down by your side. As you inhale, tilt the pelvis towards your feet, so your lower back arches. As you exhale, tilt the pelvis towards your chest, so the lower back presses to the ground. Inhale as you tilt your pelvis towards your feet. Exhale, tilt the pelvis towards your chest. Continue with your breath. So your inhale, the belly will rise. And the exhale, the belly will flatten down to the spine, flattening to the floor. Do that and try and keep your knees steady. Try and keep a consistent distance between your knees. You can now start to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your lips. Breathing in as the back arches, creating a little passageway under your back. And breathing out as your back flattens down, the passageway collapsing. Do that a couple more times, there's no rush with this. And then go into neither, just let your back relax to whichever shape it comfortably relaxes into. Become aware of your feet on the floor. I want you to imagine your feet are glued to the floor. Now, first of all, push your feet 100% down into that glue. As you push your feet down into the glue, feel how it pushes or transfers and pushes your belly flat to the ground. By pushing your feet into the floor, you're pushing your back flat into the floor. Okay, now keeping the feeling of your feet glued to the floor. Now imagine you're trying to pull your feet off the glue, but they're not going to lift because they're stuck down. As you try and pull your feet up, notice now how your back arches into that little gap under your back. Now, have you all got that feeling, by the way? Yeah. Okay, now just apply just about 50% of that pressure through your feet and then come up to about midway in your back. So you're aligning the pressure between your feet and the alignment of your back. So it's neither forced to the ground nor arching from the ground. It feels like it's nice and long. Now bring your hands onto your lower ribs. Inhale through your nose. And exhale, just see if you can make your ribs align with your waistline. So the chest kind of laying a bit flatter, the ribs merging down toward the waist. Lower back long, and a nice even presence in your feet through left and right side, about 50%. And then relax your arms back down by your side. Slight tuck of the chin, relax your shoulders. Just gonna use the breath again, inhale through the nose. And as you exhale, don't move anything, but just see if you can squeeze the pelvic floor muscles. Inhale as you relax. Exhale, squeezing the pelvic floor muscles. That means you're engaging the passages between the legs. Imagine you need a toilet, number 1, number 2, and you're pulling the muscles up that you would use to stop that flow. You're not changing the pressure through your feet or changing the spacing of your back or the lay of the rib cage. You're just adding into that a squeezing up of the pelvic floor. One more time. Exhaling the pelvic floor now, traveling up, and try and keep the pelvic floor lightly engaged. Feel like it almost connects to the descending lower ribs. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Keep the left foot as it is. Make your right foot a little bit lighter and see if you can extend your right leg so it hovers off the ground as it straightens down the mat, just an inch or so off the floor. Inhale as you bring it back in again so that foot lands. And exhale, the left foot extends away, left leg extends away. Good. Inhale as you bend the left leg back in. And exhale, right leg away. Good. Keep going with that. The leg that doesn't move, knee stays perfectly still. And you've got just that 50% presence in that foot that lands to help you maintain a neutral spine, as well as your core muscles now. So the other 50% is your core muscles holding you there. Got this feeling of the waistline drawing down and the ribs laying flat, the pelvis not moving. You're starting to push down into your arms. Take your arms a bit wider, just off the mat, and turn your palms to the ceiling. So there's no temptation to push into your arms. They just lay nice and light and free on the floor. Finish with the left. Once both feet are flat on the floor, keep breathing there. Keep the core muscles engaged. On your next exhale, lift the right leg in a bent knee to a knee fold. Inhale as you take your foot back to the floor, it lands lightly, connecting to its gluey surface, and the left leg lifts. Inhaling as the left leg returns, foot flat to the floor. Exhale, the right leg lifts. Good. And just keep going in time with your breath. Inhaling as you let the legs slowly lower down. Exhaling as you bring the legs slowly up. It's just one leg at a time, so you always end up with the feet both on the floor before the next leg lifts. The reason we've got the block behind the head is because when we're not having to lift the head off the ground, sometimes it's useful just to have the head slightly lifted so it doesn't end up the head falling back and tension in the back of the neck. Just in the middle there, Ali. Yeah, that's it. And you just need to grab one of these blocks. Ali, just grab one of these blocks. It's okay, yeah, it's fine. Okay, next time your right leg lifts, keep the right leg lifted. Just wait till you're all there. You still feel there's an evenness on the back of your pelvis. Neither one side or the other has gone heavier. And that same line through the spine. Okay, with your right leg lifted, straighten your right leg so your knees level with each other. Bend your leg in as you inhale. Exhale, straighten the leg so your knees line. Inhale as you bend the knee in. Good. Think about the sole of the foot pressing away in space. And imagine you've got a sole of the foot on the hip end of your leg. So as the real sole of your foot pushes away in the air, the imaginary sole of your foot presses against your lower belly, pressing your belly back in a diagonal angle toward the back wall of your abdomen. So we're getting this dual strength. There's the strength of the leg extending and then the core muscles pressing back to support the extension of the leg. A couple more. Good. And then take your right foot with the bent leg, right foot back down to the floor. And exhale, left leg lifts. Pause here, inhale. Exhale, push the left leg away, knees and thighs level. Inhale as you bend. Exhale, push away, feeling that slight draw back through the lower abdomen, almost like the lower abdomen flattens more as the leg presses away. It's not that it relaxes when the leg bends in. It's just that you need the extra strength. So you have to think about how you apply that extra strength as you extend the leg. Because whenever we move away from the center point of the body, it requires more strength. The longer the lever, the more strength required. 2 more. Still relaxed in your neck, shoulders, arms. Next time your leg bends, keep the leg bent. And then return your left foot down to the floor. Keep your elbows on the ground, bring your hands onto the front points of your hips. Let your right knee open out to the side onto the outer edge of your foot. And then close your right knee back to center until the foot is fully flattened, both knees point up. Then the left knee opens with an inhale. And the left knee closes with an exhale. Inhale, right knee opens. Exhale, right knee closes. So think of it like a drawbridge. When the knee opens, it's the bridge lowering, and then we need something to pull it back up again. I want you to think of the center of your lower abdomen pulling the leg back up. So like the pull cord to that drawbridge is the center of your abdomen, drawing the leg back up. So feel there's a connection between the leg movement and your central control unit. This isn't a flexibility exercise, although it does help a little bit with flexibility. It's a control exercise. So control the outward movement of your knee without the pelvis tipping onto its side and without the other knee moving at all. You might see in your peripheral view, your other knee stays still. Once both knees are pointing back up to the ceiling again, pause. Let's combine a few of those. Straighten your right leg, hovering it off the floor. Bend your knee outwards as your foot slides back up, your knee goes wide, and then close your knee back into center. Straighten your left leg, hovering it off the floor. Bend your knee outwards so the sole of the foot slides on the edge back up, and then close your knee back in. Let's go again. Right leg extends, inhale. Exhale, knee bends outwards as your leg slides in and closes in. Inhale, left leg, extend. Exhale, knee bends wide, and closing back in. So it's almost like a little bit of a circular movement with your knee, circling or semicircling outwards and back in. See how still you can keep the other leg with that little 50% pressure through your foot to help stabilize you. Ribs are staying laying flat. If you want to put your hands on your ribs just to check there, you can. Or one hand on your ribs, one hand on your belly. If you feel at any point you build tension in your neck and shoulders, relax your arms out. Next time your legs come in, just switch the direction. So you're going to, instead of that, you're going to open your knee wide, straighten your leg down the mat, and then bend your knee back up to the ceiling. Open your knee out to the side, straighten your leg down the center of the mat, and then slide it back in. There's a lightness to your foot if it touches the floor. It's just grazing the floor without applying any weight in your foot as the leg moves. This is great for hip mobility. It really gets to lubricate the ball and socket joints. If you have any hip mobility issues, this is a gentle, kind movement that will help. Okay, finish with the left. And then once you finish your left leg, just both knees back into center. Just to finish it off there, from both legs back into center, bring your right leg back up into a knee fold. Start to feel your left foot get a little lighter on the floor. You need to feel that downward draw in your lower belly as you lift the left leg up to join your right leg. Let's relax the arms, palms upwards, shoulders relaxed. Just feel like your thigh bones are sinking down, not directly down into the back of the hips, but like the thigh bones are sinking down into the front of your lower belly. Tap your right foot on the floor without the left leg moving, and lift the right leg back up. Tap the left foot to the floor without the right leg moving, and lift it back up. Good, and do that a few more times each side. Remember when we were straightening the leg away, and I asked you to imagine a foot pressing back diagonally from the lower belly toward the lower back. Have that feeling now as you tap one foot to the floor. If it's too much, this is exactly what we did when we started with both feet on the floor. So you can always do both feet on the floor and then lifting one leg. Finish with your next left. Once you've done that one on your left, keep your legs in a double knee fold. Last little bit here. I'm going to straighten the right leg so your knee and your left foot will align with each other. Bend your leg back in. Straighten the left leg so your knee and foot line with each other. Inhale, bend. Exhale, extend the leg away. Inhale, bend. Exhale, extend away. Inhale, bend. Exhale, extend. You know we did this with our feet on the floor earlier, where we just extended the leg from a single knee fold. It's always an option to go with. We're almost there now. One more each leg. Try not to just move from your that's it, from there, and then extend, and then back into that. And then finish left. And then from there, return your right foot, land it softly on the ground, no more than 50%, and then the left foot landing back to the ground, no more than 50%. And then when you're ready to relax, relax and let everything go. Good. Drop your knees out wide, soles of the feet together. They might not fully open to begin with, so you might just do a gentle flutter without applying too much force there. Just each flutter, allow your legs to get a bit heavier, a bit wider. And let's see if we can use that ball and socket rotation. So you don't need to bring your knees in together. Just start pushing your feet down the mat, and your legs naturally will start to turn in once your legs are straight. Take your arms overhead, wider than your block. So stretching your arms back, and keep that block under the head. And if you just bend your legs so your feet are flat on the floor, actually just take the block out from under your head a minute and put it under your bottom. And then go back into your full body stretch with the block under your bottom this time. Arms overhead, legs straight, hips are elevated slightly this time. If it feels too much, just do the same stretch without the block under your bottom. Have you misheard me, Liz? Have you misheard me, or are you leaving it out? Okay, so that's okay. Put your block under your hips. That's it. There you go. That's it. It's all right. No, it's okay. I thought it must have been that. Yeah, no worries. And legs straight, full body stretch. There you go. Without your hands resting on your belly or chest, but like you did, breathe in through your nose, feel your belly and your chest expanding. And breathe out and just feel a nice surrendering of effort here, just relaxing your body like it's draping over the block effortlessly. See if you can extend the range of your breath even more than before. So just nudging the length of your breath beyond what you've done so far. Such a nice way to feel good within yourself is to bring your attention to some nice full breaths. It can be very relaxing and also rejuvenating. One more breath there. Good, then bend your legs so your feet are flat on the floor. Lift your hips, take the block out from underneath. And then bring it back underneath your head. I'm going to turn them to your right side. Bend your knees so they're directly in front of your hips. Both arms in front. We're going into dark circles. Other way, Anne. Anna. Anna. That way. On your right side. Thank you. That's okay. I was really I was imagining I was playing the piano then, thinking, which is my left hand? That's the only one. If I get confused, I imagine I'm playing the piano and think, right, that I know from the piano, that's my right hand. Anyway, we're doing torque circles. So your knees are together, palms together to start, spine nice and long. And then circle upwards, round behind, over your hip. Hands pass by each other. Let your head turn on the block as your arm opens. And then your head turns all the way back round, so you're looking at your hands as they brush by each other. Make them full. Think how stationary your arms have been so far. So we really want to start each circle, a bit like your breath. See if you can challenge the parameter of the circle. If there's anything in your way, move it. If it's a person, maybe don't move it. But but other than that, start to feel you've got space around you in which you can move into. And when your hands brush by each other this time, just change direction. So simply going down over your hip to begin with and circling around the other way. As your head rolls on the block, your chest turns with your arm. So it becomes a spinal rotation, as well as a lubricant for the ball and socket of your shoulder joints. Then remember those deeper breaths that you've been training your lungs to make in the last 10 minutes or so. Take deeper breaths with your circle, inhaling deeper for the first half, exhaling fully for the second half. Complete a couple more. They might be slower to accommodate the fullness of your breath. When your arm comes by this time, bring it all the way down, catch hold of your ankle, and stretch the front of your thigh by pointing your knee away and pressing the hip point forwards. If you can't get hold of your ankle, you can wrap a strap around it. Hold your trouser leg, or if nothing else, just straighten your leg out instead, with your leg going back. You want the thigh bone to press back and the hip point to press forwards. Your shoulder rolls back a little. See if the skin of your thigh can reach toward the knee. Even feel it's trying to wrap around the knee toward the shin. Good. Then your knees come back together, but instead of your knees being straight in front of you, this time shift your knees down a little. So now your feet are in line with your bottom, ready for oyster. Lift the bottom curve of your waist slightly off the ground. Bring your top hand onto your top hip initially. Keep your top hip pointing forward and open your top knee with an oyster knee. And then close your knee back down to gently touch the bottom knee. Okay, so watch out for your hip rolling back. Use your hand on your hip initially. Try and keep the hip point pointing forwards. Then a nice place to put your arm, if you can, is just to put your forearm behind your lower back. Press your waistline slightly against your forearm. If you can't get the back of your hand or your forearm against your lower back, then put the hand on the floor in front of you instead. As you press your belly or your back against your forearm, it's coming from your abdominal wall. A bit like when you were lying on your back on the floor, same thing. So your knee opens, your hip presses forwards. Two more. Okay, then when your knees come back together, just your top knee coming up higher. Drop it to the floor. Straighten your bottom leg out a bit more. Shift your right arm further along the mat, so your right shoulder shifts further along the mat. And then open your left arm out wide behind. Turn your gaze to the ceiling. If the block now is pushing your head up too high, just slide that out. See if you can broaden your chest outwards into the width of your arms and staying here without opening and closing, just remaining wide with your arms. Imagine you're holding the sky above in a wide, large, thankful embrace for the blue sky we have today. The knee has risen slightly, that's fine. Okay, we're just going to lift the knee, roll round onto your back, keep your arms out wide, shift back into the middle of the mat. Yeah, if you've taken the block out from under your head, bring the block back under your head again. Bring both knees in towards you, one hand each knee, and circle your knees open and closed. And then circle them round the other way. And then bring both knees in together. Curl your head and shoulders off the ground and just tuck up into a little ball, nose toward the knees. And lower back down. Going to take the left side, so turning onto your left, bring your knees directly in front of your hips and your toes are pointing forward. So we're looking for a 90-degree angle with both legs, both feet. Palms are together, spine nice and long. If you didn't have space before, you might stagger yourself with the person next to you so you've got full range of movement for your arm. Beginning when you're ready, we start upwards. So your arm circles up overhead, then round behind. It's a full circle all the way down over your hip. Yeah, good. Get into the flow of that and enjoy it because it's a very soothing movement. It's quite relaxing as well. Watch out for the knees rolling with you. See if your knees can stay heavy. A couple more in this direction. Try not to cut any corners in your circle. See if you can make it the full range that you've got within your range of movement. Softening your elbow where you need to. When your hands pass by each other, next time you just change direction. Any sticky points, the elbow softens. You want to be quite floppy in your arm as it circles around. Imagine you've got like a ragdoll arm. More like a cloth arm rather than wooden and rigid. Two more. Great. When your hands come by each other, you just continue down and catch hold of your ankle, stretching the front of your thigh. As the knee and thigh press back, the hip presses forward. Bottom leg is still bent for balance. Shoulder rolls back. And again, just feel like there's the skin is stretching down toward the knee and then wrapping around the knee towards your shin, giving you that feeling of really lengthening out the front of the thigh. When you release, bring that knee up to the floor in front of you. Bottom leg, oh no, sorry, we're doing oyster first. So your feet just drop down a little further, your knees are a bit further down. So your feet are in line with your bottom behind. Hand on your hip, little lift in the curve of your waist. So you're balancing on the side of your hip and your shoulders. Your knee opens, try not to let the curve of the waist drop, and knee closes. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. You're opening to the point where there's a little grip on your outer hip without rolling back. So you feel you reach your maximum knee open without the pelvis rolling back. And again, you can put your hand into the lower back or the forearm, back of your hand into the lower back, and just gently press your spine against that. But that's pressing from the lower ribs, pressing from your abdominal wall, as if your back's got a floor behind it so that it's trying to stay in neutral along. Try and keep your gaze forwards. If you find that your gaze is turned up to the ceiling, probably you're rolling onto your back. So keep your gaze forwards, your chest forwards, your belly button facing forwards. A few more. Two. And 1. Good. And then the top knee drops to the floor in front, bottom leg straightens out a bit more. Your bottom arm, so that's your right arm this time, is it? No, it's your left arm. Shifting further over, and then the right arm opening out wide. Lift the back of your shoulder blades so it's comfortable in the upper back as you open wide. Maybe now that big embrace into the sky above you has gone a bit heavier. Imagine a cloud passing by and it's sitting more heavily into the wide span of your arms. Feel there's a gentle force pressing down, widening you. Keeping your arm wide open, roll onto your back. As you come round, both feet going flat to the floor. Both knees come into the chest. Circle your knees open and closed. Please do not and then change direction. Okay, make a little ball, nose towards your knees. Lift your feet, hold the back of your legs. See if you can make a little roll back and forwards, pushing your thighs into your hands. Make your way to sitting. If you can roll your way to sitting, do it that way. Once you've made your way to sitting, however you end up getting here, so remember you can always just turn, coming up, swing your legs round behind you and come round to hands and knees. Okay, so we'll take the spine through extension, lift the tailbone, lift your gaze. And then through flexion, tuck your tailbone, tuck your gaze. Inhaling to extension. Exhaling to flexion. Also known as cat-cow, so dipping the spine, then rounding your spine like a cat stretching. One more time. And then a level flat back whenever you pass through the center next. Lower down onto your forearms. Stretch your legs out, lower your hips and lift your chest. Sphinx position with your feet pointed. Press through your forearms. If that's too high, take the elbows further forwards so that you've got whatever extension in your spine feels comfortable, manageable. Okay, then press more into the top of the feet, straighten your knees more. Press more into the pubic bone, pull the belly in more. So your tummy now starts to draw up and support your lower spine. And then the belly might pull slightly in from the ground. Keep your gaze forwards, shoulders pressing down. So whatever spinal extension you've got, we're not hanging in the spine, we're supporting from underneath. Take 2 more breaths. Roll the shoulders back if you can, rather than the shoulders coming forwards into the chest. And then lower down, so you're resting your head on your hands. You can rest one hand on top of the other, or you can make a little diamond shape with your thumb and index fingers for your forehead to rest in the gap of the diamond. Your choice. Inhale. Exhale. Float your chest and your head just a few inches away from the hands, away from the floor. And then inhale as you lower back down. When you lift, keep the legs straight, keep the abdomen active. Inhale, lowering head lands on your hands. Exhale, lift and feel there's an extension through the crown of your head as you lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale as you lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift, and try staying lifted this time. Keep your elbows on the floor. And then see if your fingers can come up to touch your temples with your elbows on the ground. The elbows are still wide. Fingers are touching the temples. They're not supporting your head. Your core muscles have got you here. So can we be active in the pelvic floor muscles like we did when we were lying on our back? Now you can stay here, and just maintaining this position is powerful enough. If you can, really strong from the belly, try lifting the elbows off the ground to about level with your fingertips, and then touch the elbows back down. So the elbows lift, but you feel the belly is drawing away from the ground as the elbows lift. Inhale, tap elbows down. Exhale, lift the elbows. 2 more. Inhale, tap elbows down. Exhale, lift the elbows. Inhale, tap elbows down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, elbows tap down, and exhale, lower back down to the floor. Rest your head back down on your hands. Shimmy your shoulders so your shoulders relax. And then bend your legs, take your knees wide on the mat, and just sway your feet left and right. Good, then bring your knees together. Place your hands on the floor. Push up straight arms until you're straight from your hands to your knees. So you're pushing up, straight arms. So you're on your hands and your knees with a straight line in your hips. So you've just gone from a straight line on the floor to a straight line on your knees. So you're in a knee plank, feet are to the ceiling. I want you to imagine you've got the floor diagonally underneath you here, and you're pressing your pubic bone into your imaginary diagonal floor and pulling your belly in slightly. Keep your gaze along the front of your mat, shoulders away from ears. Hug the ribs in, watch out for your ribs poking forwards. Hands are below your shoulders. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. But then as you go back to a child's pose, your hands might just slide back a little as you sit your hips as far back as you can to your heels. Arms stretching wide on the mat in front of you. Press into your hands or your fingertips to try and push your hips deeper into your heels. And then lift into a downward facing dog, hips up nice and high. Gaze between the legs. Let your head hang freely. Start walking your hands towards your feet. Take your hands off the floor and hold on to opposite elbows. Elbows heavy. Feel like your elbows drop from your shoulders. Head falling between the arms, like the top of your head is trying to chase your forearms. Release your arms and slowly roll your spine up, pushing down into your feet. If the lower back is tender, put your hands on your knees as you roll up. As you roll up through your spine, slowly rolling your shoulders back. And then just come to standing and close your eyes once you feel balanced. And pause a moment there. Have the shoulder heads rolling back just enough so that your arms fall down the sides of your body. Push down into your feet as if you're trying to push the top of your head closer to the ceiling. Gently draw the back of the waist towards an imaginary wall behind you, and the pelvic floor muscles squeezing up. Breath. Then relax your posture. Bring your one hand onto the lower belly, one hand onto your chest. Inhale, breathe from the lower hand to your upper hand. Exhale all the air out. With a full breath like that, challenging the range of your breath. And then lower down. So you might need to move forwards on your mat. Lower down. Come onto your back. Arms by your side. That block you used earlier, actually, did I get one? Yeah. We're going to take it onto its side that way, if you can. Yeah. So roll your hips up and see if you can get that block on its side underneath the back of your pelvis. So it kind of runs from those two bumpy points on the back of your pelvis around the sacroiliac joint from one side to the other. If that's too high, then you can just lift your hips without the block because the other way is probably too low. Okay, and then arms down by your side, reaching your fingertips in the direction of your outer feet. Press the shoulder heads back to the mat a bit more and elevate the sides of your chest slightly. Continue to let the pelvis be supported, but the inner thighs parallel. Bring about 50% pressure through your feet just to stabilize the legs. And then press a little more into your arms and your feet to lift off the block. Tip it so it's flat and lower down onto the flat block now. Once you're on the flat block, cross your right ankle onto your left knee. Put your hands on your hip points and just try and press your right knee away wider. And then bring your right knee in, straighten your right leg up in the air. Give your foot a little point and flex. You've still got your hips on the block. And then bring your right foot down, left ankle crossing onto your right knee. Hands on your hips to keep them level and just feel the left knee is pointing wider away, rotating in the ball and socket joint. Knee comes in, straighten the leg up in the air and point and flex your foot a few times. Foot down to the floor, straighten your legs, straighten your arms overhead. Make sure the block's more under your bottom than your lower back. Wriggle long. Start by pointing your feet, point your fingers. And then flex your feet so your toes pull upwards, your heels push further away. Bring your arms down, push into your flexed heels and see if you can slide the block out. And then bring your right knee up to your chest, squeeze it in. Straighten your right leg, bring your left knee in, squeeze it in. Keep hold of your right knee, bring your left knee in to join as well. Nose towards your knees, curl up into a ball. Grab your block while you're in a ball, pop the block back underneath the back of your head. And then lower your head down onto your block, cushion, pillow, whatever you're using, feet down. And feet wide, rest your knees together, tuck the tailbone long. Get comfortable in your upper body, arms wider than your mat, palms to the ceiling. A moment just to let your spine settle. When you're ready and when you want to, the legs can straighten down to the outer corners of your mat. Continuing to let your arms open, palms open, and hips open. You could close your eyes. Still breathing, You don't need to think about it. Feel there's a deep underlying intelligence, which we could say is the breath. Think of the intelligence that connects with your breath. That sustains you through this lifetime. Feel like you're laying in honor of your breath, just to recognize it rise and fall. Whatever you've done today, however you feel, whatever's been, everything is changeable. Nothing is permanent, just like your breath. Feel how the breath rises and then subsides. Feel the impermanence of the breath rising, arriving, and leaving. With each exhale, let go any discomfort, any business in your mind, whatever isn't of positive advantage in your life. Right now, let it go. See if you can drop yourself into a neutral space. And take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Wiggle your body a little, and then when you're ready, the soles of the feet come flat to the floor. We're all going to turn onto our side. Lift your right arm up by your right ear. Turn all the way onto your right side. Use your left hand in front of you and your right arm above you to push your way up. Roll on your bottom as you turn around to sitting. Good. Thank you very much, everyone. Well done. Thank you.